Now, today's cover story.
Now, most of us have seen seeing eye dogs who help their owners across the street or around in stores. But man's best friend can be trained to do just about anything for just about anyone. And a Rhode Island man with MS says his dog has changed his life. NECN's Allie Donnelly has tonight's cover story.
A trip to the grocery store is a simple pleasure for John Defazio, but it wasn't always.
At first I was trying to do it without a cane or anything, and staggering and stumbling, and people in stores would grab their kids thinking that I was a drunk or something.
The 54-year-old Cranston, Rhode Island man has multiple sclerosis, at times so debilitating he can barely move.
If you could think of yourself like a machine with all wires, multiple sclerosis eats the covering off the wire at different spots, anywhere in your spine or your brain.
MS patients often lose muscle control, balance, sensation, even vision. A bleak future for many. But one crisp fall day 2 years ago, John's life changed forever. He met Shapleigh, a chocolate lab greyhound mix, and a NEADS dog, or a National Education Assistance dog.
It's a lot easier when people see you with a dog. They know that there's something wrong. And
you don't feel stared at?
Yeah. They stare at me, but they're staring at the dog. Nobody sees me anymore.
To understand John's relationship with Shapleigh, you have to know a bit more about them individually. John was diagnosed with MS in 1996.
I got out of bed and my whole bottom half, I just fell to the floor. My whole bottom half was numb. I couldn't feel my feet. I couldn't feel my legs.
At first, John says he was in denial and didn't want to tell his wife Marie what was going on. They were supposed to head out on vacation in just days. But in a marriage of 21 years, secrets are not easily harbored.
I had never kept anything from John before, but I really thought that he did have a brain tumor, and I couldn't think of anything else. So when they said, you know, you don't have a brain tumor, you have MS, I was relieved. I thought that was terrific.
And now?
It's not so terrific. It's not so terrific.
John says the hardest part of his day is pretty much all of it.
Your legs feel like lead. Sometimes they won't move. Walking around in the house is hard. I wall walk a lot.
John owned a small restaurant for many years, but with MS, he is heat intolerant.
Just about a degree or two raise in temperature can make it so it's difficult for me to walk, difficult for me to move.
He jokes, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen, and he had to. He hasn't been able to work since 1997. His hands went numb, and he knew he needed help. 60 miles from Cranston, off a road called Redemption Rock Trail, is the NEADS campus in Princeton, Massachusetts. They've trained more than 850 assistance dogs for people with all sorts of disabilities. Here's Shapleigh's graduating class.
A lot of them are purebreds and golden retrievers, and when they first brought her out, I was like, who's the little mutt?
But this little mutt is an amazing creature indeed.
Turn on the light. Turn on the light. Turn on the light. Go ahead. Good. Good girl.
John says people with MS are like snowflakes, every one different. And at NEADS, the owner and the dog spend weeks training together, figuring out specifically what the owner needs the dog to do.
Here, Carrie. Carrie.
Around the house, among many things, Shapleigh can turn on and off the lights, as you saw, bring John the phone should he fall, snatch tapes out of the VCR.
Get the tape, chat. Thank you. Good fetch.
And at the grocery store, he even clips coupons.
Good.
Trips like this, even just going to the grocery store, give John an enormous amount of freedom. But they also give him incentive. There was a time before Shapleigh that Marie worried John wouldn't even get out of bed.
He could have been, housebound, just because it was just too traumatic for him to go out in public.
Marie is an audio engineer for a Rhode Island television station and must work as much overtime as she can get to pay for John's expensive medications and treatment. She says it's hard to watch him struggle.
Like last night, he was trying to walk and he fell. And I'm home and Shapleigh's here, but we can't catch him. And, it's tough.
Tough, too, for John is what he calls the loss. He points to his drums getting dusty in a side room.
He was such an excellent drummer. He was hot.
I went to Berklee School of Music. I played drums almost my whole life, and now I can't even barely pick up my foot to walk.
But with John and Marie, who exude a kind of quiet, mutual adoration, there's always a sunny side of the street. And many days, it's Shapleigh.
I like to call her the beacon of light through the darkness of MS.
She's always there, always there, and doesn't judge. Smart and well-trained, and very loving.
I can see that. Hi, Shapleigh.
Here is where I unknowingly make a big faux pas. I'm petting Shapleigh, a service dog no-no.
If she's carrying something for John and somebody comes and pets her, her tail will start wagging, she'll become distracted, and she'll drop whatever she's carrying.
John is the only one who may pet her, reward her.
I've had dogs, but I've always had to do for the dog. I've never had a dog that would take care of me.
But care for John she does, physically and emotionally. Unable to play drums, John has turned to the harmonica. Most dogs howl at the piercing sound, but Shapleigh hovers near and listens.
It just warms my heart, and it makes me really happy. My heart is smiling.
In Cranston, Rhode Island, Allie Dunley, NECN.
Well, if you'd like to learn more about these NEADS service dogs, check out this website. It is neads.org. You can also give them a phone call at 978-422-9064.